Morning, everyone. Big up to all of you joining me. And I am late this morning. I'm on Trini time, but guys, don't worry about it because I'm here now. Where are you all? I know you all are going to be joining us shortly. You know what? It's a good day, a good weekend. I think all the fans are like me, a bit excited, a bit happy, and a bit relieved that we won 2-0. We got the 3 points and we move on. Guys, the FA Cup quarterfinal is coming up this week. What is Manchester United going to do? But there are also players returning this week. WAN BISSAKA back in training last week, Thursday. Højlund back in training. Will he be available for the game against Liverpool? There's also reports that Luke Shaw is back on grass. Guys, what are your thoughts? Get in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. It's your boy, MarkN, MUFC fan. And I got my boy, John Morgan, in the background. He's going to come here and give his views. Let's see what's happening. Big up to all of you joining us. Don't forget to smash the likes and subscribe. Hit the notification bells if you're new. Let's get it going. Big up to everyone joining me, and I got my buddy John Morgan here. John, I think your camera is slightly blurry, buddy, but it should be fine.
Yeah, I think I must just change this connection quickly.
You're back. Oh, you were back. All right, you want to jump out and jump back in? I think he's going to jump out and jump back in. I'll bring him back in shortly. Guys, how are you feeling today? I hope you guys are having a great week. You know, it's Monday morning. And I'm here, Mick. How are you doing, bro? Big up to you, MUFC Realist TV. And if you want to jump in, my bro, I'm going to drop the link in the comments. You can come in as well and give your say. It's a short, brief statement. We're going to talk about, the 3 players returning, the possible FA Cup mixture that we have going on with Liverpool guys at home at Old Trafford. Don't forget, guys, we at home. It should be a positive result, and John is back. Big up to John. What's going on, my bro? How are you doing this morning?
Very, very good, very good, very good. Apologies about that whole situation.
It's all good. You know it is, man. Everything sometimes is always is, it's just part of life. Having, good days, bad days, stuff like that happens. Oh, look at
Facts. But I'm good, feeling good after the result. I looked at the fixtures that we won, the previous fixtures, and I think only Fulham and City is a team that we lost against since the start of the year. And that's going back to Nottingham Forest when we lost. So I think the people, the media, fans want to paint a picture about Ten Hag, and I think that he's actually doing very well. And I think based on yesterday's game, the performance from the players wasn't fantastic, but as we know with Ten Hag, he gets the win. So I'm good.
100%. And I mean, like, it's nowhere near perfect. And it's one of those things where I look at it from the perspective that, we're doing this from the point of a rebuilding situation. I mean, lots of people are hyped about the performance and they expect to push on. And I can't disregard their comments because it is the second season of his tenure. But at the same time, knowing what we know about the players who were here before he came, for me, it's a bit disingenuous for us to be criticizing him on an extreme level. Like, he's not a great coach. He's not this, he's not that. Because as we can see, he's doing kind of what we expect him to do without his key players available. He's making it do with what he has left. And for one of the squads in the league who's been suffering with injuries all season, especially from the beginning, with key players out in defense who were responsible for us carrying the 18 clean sheets last season, no losses at home. Those guys weren't available but for like 9 to 11 games. In fact, and we also won all those 9 to 11 games that they were available and drew twice otherwise. So it's kind of weird when you look at the perspective that, when he has his full squad available, this manager is successful. This team performs. They win games, So I'm just looking at it from the fact that, you know what? It wasn't a great season. We still have 10 games left. If you look at the run-ins, like you mentioned, the batch fixtures coming up, there's in the next 6 games, the two teams above us, they play each other back to back to back to back in 4 game weeks. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
Tottenham, they're gonna face Arsenal, they're gonna face Liverpool, and then they're gonna face City. They're facing Arsenal at home, City away, Liverpool away, and they also have to play Aston Villa at home. You know what I mean? And then if you flip that script, Aston Villa has to play Tottenham. They have to play Villa. I mean Liverpool. They have to play Arsenal, and then they have to play Man City. And that's another situation where that's their 4 to 5 games in the next 6 weeks, week after week after week. And this is where I start feeling a little bit of positivity for Manchester United. I start feeling like, we might have some tough fixtures, but our toughest game is versus Liverpool twice, one in the Cup and one in the Premier League. We have
Yeah.
Brentford, we have Sheffield, and we have Chelsea. Those are our games in the next 5 weeks. And if you look at those fixtures from the perspective that I'm looking at as Manchester United, you're definitely going to be able to, you know, possibly come away with at least 9 of the 12 points that are available, if not 8. Because you
Mm.
know what, we should beat Chelsea, we should beat Brentford, we should definitely beat Sheffield United. It's the Liverpool game that's all the trouble, and we play them in the cup 1 week before. So you never know, we might be able to get a result in the cup and thereby help ourselves get another result at home in the league. I don't know what your thoughts are, but what's going on.
Yeah, I fully agree with you, Mark. In the sense that Villa, I don't think they're playing Tottenham again in the league. I think they finished with Tottenham, but I know that they're playing Brighton, Chelsea, Liverpool. They're playing and City. They're playing all these and Arsenal. They're playing all these different teams that they're definitely going to drop points in. All right, and if you look at Tottenham's fixture list, like you said, I'm just really reiterating what you said, and um, how intense it is. Because remember, like, it's for me personally, right? It's easy for us to for it's easier for a team to play against Nottingham Forest, a Fulham, and a City in that order, right? Because you potentially could win you could potentially get 6 points out of 9, but it's difficult to play. Let me just go to Tottenham's fixtures quickly. It's difficult to play. Uh, so they lost few games, right? They have Newcastle, City, Arsenal, and Liverpool all after each other. Literally all 4 after each other. That's a potential 0 points out of 12. That's crazy. That's nuts. So, and they must still play Chelsea. And they still also have to go to Fulham. When you know of how difficult Fulham can be, and we know how difficult West Ham can be. So, I think based on the league the league at the moment, I don't think it's a long shot to say that we're in the race for a Champions League spot. And at the same time, like if I look at our fixtures, we really just have Liverpool, like you said, to worry about, right? Then we must play Chelsea, and Chelsea is up and down, so they don't really have a good record against us the way they have a record against Tottenham and Aston Villa, right? And then we must play Arsenal. Arsenal, that's a sticky fixture because Arsenal's playing fantastic football at the moment. But as you can see with their game, they still have a mistake in them, man. Right? So
100%.
if we can keep our players fit, all right, if we can get Lissandro Martinez back now after the international break and he goes in the run of games, if we can get Luke Shaw back, and I don't know how quick, I don't know if Luke Shaw is going to be available because I know that Ten Hag said that it's looking like he's going to be ready in the last few games of the season. That's what he said. So then we're going to have to play with Wan Bissaka and Dallo. But Wan Bissaka and Dallo is not bad if you have Alessandro Martinez in defense with Varane or Maguire. All right. So for me, we need to get players back. Rasmus Højlund is integral to the way we attack. And if I look at the last couple of games that we played without him. We've struggled. Like we've struggled from a performance point of view. But with Ten Hag, he finds a way to win. Like, it's crazy how he finds a way to win, and we're not giving him enough credit for that. We're not
Yeah, man.
giving him enough credit for the fact that he can find solutions, and find a way to win, right? So oftentimes we take the bad and we make the bad worse than what it actually is. And oftentimes we want to believe that the grass is always greener on the other side. But what if you have a Deserbi? Deserbi at the moment said in a press conference that his medical staff and his backroom staff need to be better. And at Man United, we know that your medical staff and your backroom staff and all the staff above you is horrible. So you want a manager that's complaining about his backroom staff, he's complaining about the club, when we know the Glazers, the backroom staff, the medical team is not up to scratch. To the point where Ineos come in and they made immediate changes. In literal immediate changes. They said, right, we're bringing in David Brailsford, we're bringing in Omar, we're bringing in John Claude, whatever, and we're bringing in Dan Ashworth, and we're bringing in a new scouting guy. We're bringing in a whole new backroom staff.
Hold
So
on, Jim.
we mustn't want the next best thing. Not the next best thing. We mustn't be um uh, uh deceived by the thought of he's going to be better, because we've said it time and time again that the manager is the problem. We get rid of him. The next manager comes in, he'll be better. No, get rid of this manager. Style of play. We always hear style of play. We always hear falling out with players. We always hear he's not good enough. What about the fact that these players is playing since Van Gaal, since Mourinho? Literally, they come with toxic mentalities. So, yeah, I think I would really want to credit Ten Hag for the performance on at Everton, because not that the performance was great, but for the fact that he set us up in a way so that we could win the game and win the game comfortably.
100%, 100%. And I totally agree with you because when you look at it prospectively, I mean, I didn't really speak too much about it yesterday, right? But last I was thinking about it last night while I was doing this stream reacting to the victory, you know, and I was thinking to myself, why are fans so heavily caught up in what Ten Hag says word for word? It's not important what he says word for word. You know, what's
Mm,
important is that the actions, what you see after, you know, because when you look at it, he was truthful and honest in his first season about the performances of the team, about the performances of the players, and what happened. Players could not handle it. You know,
yeah.
they started forcing this play. One play, you know, you see, we had the Jadon Sancho scenario this season, and for the life of me, I can't understand why is the manager is not allowed to criticize players. I mean, how else is he gonna get them to perform? All managers will are is a normal thing, especially in English for managers to criticize the players on the field. You know what I
Mm,
mean? All of a sudden, with with the height of social media and social media fans now, you know, they should not be criticizing players. It's insane. The weirdest thing for me is that, you know, people all of a sudden think that, you know, they working for a company and their manager is enabled to criticize their performance, which
mm,
he is their manager. He is the only person in the room that you immediately work with that is able to criticize your performance. Your friends, your co-workers aren't able to, and even if they were, they are not the ones who determine what type of performance they expect from you. You know what
yeah.
I mean? The manager is the one who's turning around and saying, listen, we want to excel, so I need you to be to perform at your best.
Mm,
And if the manager can't give you a criticism, or if the manager gives you a criticism, you know, the most you can do is internalize it and assess whether it might have some bearings or truth behind it, and then work from there. But to
yeah.
come out and complain about it and cry about it and act like if you're a scapegoat and innocent, I think that's immaturity, and is in one way it shows that, you know, you're not at the level where you need to be in life, because sometimes you're going to have people criticize you negatively or positively. It's not up to you in every single scenario, but you have
Mm,
to be able to deal with it. Sometimes you could accept it or you could prove them wrong, and you know, in sports. Usually, the best players prove managers wrong and prove people wrong when they're not performing well.
100%. And Mark, I mean, like if you look at now the report that came out now yesterday or today, I think, with Jadon Sancho saying he blames Ten Hag for the drop in his performance levels. But if we look at his performance levels since Oli wasn't good enough, and Jadon Sancho was never a player that was lighting the world, setting the world alight at United because he never ever got consistency in his game, and that's because of his own self. It's because of his he himself. He's the reason why he didn't get consistency because he was
100%.
the one that had to be sent to the mountains. He was the one that threw his toys out of the cot and put the social media post on his social on put the social media post on Twitter. So and on Instagram. So like, how can you blame other people for your actions, man? That is like you said, immature. That is unhealthy. Literally, if you're a player and you want to make a name for yourself, you want to be, this brand, and everybody must look to you, and you want to be an example to kids and people. You want people to buy your shirt and have your number, and you really want to be this player that they look at the same way they look at Mbappe, or the same way they look at um who's the other wingers, Vinicius or Bellingham. These types of players literally take themselves and they say, I'm going to train hard. I'm going to make sure that I'm playing. I'm going to make sure that I'm giving everything for the team, and I'm going to make sure that I win.
Hmm.
Right? So, um, true. That's so true. What Kenny's saying is so true.
Yeah, that's when you think about those kind of things, you look at, I just feel like the online fans become a mob, this kind of angry mob that they don't think anything into context. All it is act is based on the initial emotion. The world, yeah, we wish the world was black and white. Honestly, you wish it was just
Mm,
right and wrong, good
yeah.
and bad, to do or not to do, you know what I mean? Good things and bad things separate. Everyone wishes those things. But right now, but if you look at it, there's so much more color in the world, right? So there's the scale and the spectrum in between the black and the white and the left
Mm,
and the right, and the good and the bad. And I'm not trying to make any excuses for anybody, but if I look at my
mm,
own life, I don't live up. I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? I didn't have the perfect start from beginning to end. I've made mistakes. I've failed at some things and succeeded at
yeah.
others. You know what I mean? I have had
As of
to.
all, we all have, bro.
Yeah, and when I look at it, no, I might not have committed any crimes, and some people may have. But at the
Mm.
end of the day, do we judge everyone based on solely the mistakes that they have made in life? I don't think that's what we do. I think
Uh-uh.
we would try to understand the situation and the context behind their mistakes and try to give them, a certain level of understanding. I mean, there's some mistakes where you're like, this is very bad. You know what I mean? This I don't
Yeah.
really believe in. But then there's some mistakes where, it's not always an action. It could be an inaction or it could be an accusation. And nobody really knows the
Mm.
situation and how it comes about. But I wouldn't comment on it too much. But I just was saying that Man United fans and fans of football in general, the world, it doesn't work so easy. And to just say that, our manager isn't good because he didn't win a league title in 2 seasons in it, is too easy for me. Eric Ten Hag has shown previously before he came to United that he's excellent when working with a system that he knows what type of players to provide for a system to get it to work. And since we are forming a system with the best in class,
Mm.
won't he be exceptional with that system around him? I hear the argument from a lot of fans, including, the likes of Alice Abrams and, Alice Talks Footy. These guys, Saeed and these guys talking about Eric Ten Hag will be fired if he doesn't give up his veto. He will have to have a new direction because, Ineos is going to take away his power to select players. And I'm laughing because what's so hilarious to me is that all top clubs, elite football clubs around the world, they have a discussion with the manager. The
Mm.
manager must be involved in the players coming in. Now,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, the player profile will fit the club style of play, but the
Mm.
manager will still have listen, I want this type of player to fit this profile. I want this type of personality because it will enhance my squad. And I think this is what, Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe are going to do over the summer. They're going to move on some players, and they're going to bring in 4 to 5 players that fit the style of play, and see if there's a big change between now and December on the next window. Because I feel like it's the cheapest thing, it's the most sustainable thing to do, and it's the easiest thing to do is to just keep the manager, give him profiles to support his style of play, all the while, moving the needle forward for the club in the direction of progress. Because, if you move on 4 to 5 players and you bring in 4 to 5 players that fit the system, it benefits the club. Because at the end of the day, no matter which manager comes in, all of them are of the same kind of style: expansive, attacking football, high intensity, And if you bring 4 to 5 players in with Eric Ten Hag, it keeps a stability sense, a sense of stableness. It brings to the team and makes it transition smoothly. And if he's not the guy, let's just say time January around this time, we're not having such a good performance again. He already received 4 to 5 players, and nothing's changing. Then we could simply transition to a new coach. With that will probably get the rest of the bad players out of the club in the following transfer window.
But you see, Mark, for me personally, I don't think that is fair. All right, come and tell you why I don't think it's fair.
Mm.
Because I agree with what you said with regards to him, feasibly and from a business perspective, it is wise to keep him, right? And I agree with it 100%. I would like him, all right, because we know you can't win a league trophy you have a project and you win a league trophy in 3 years. That's impossible. I know Leicester came and they did it, but that's an anomaly, right? So for me, I would give him longer than just 6 months in the new season. I would say, look, Ten Hag, we are now the new owners. We are now the ones that is going to provide you with the personnel that you need above you. So I would say here is another 2 years onto your tenure. So now we give you the players that we give you the style of play that we want, because Ten Hag said that the club gives him the style of play. We tell him, look, Ten Hag, we need you to play this style of football, and we need you to do it in this particular way, and we need you to win whatever. All right, and we need to be close. We need to be challenging for Arsenal, City, Liverpool. We need to be in that conversation. All right, and here is 2 years. You're going to do it. We're going to give you the players with the veto of yourself. We're going to say, here you go. There's the players that we want. What do you say? Do you want the player? Don't you want the player? Okay, if you don't want the player, it's fine. What's the alternative? And work like that. I think what you spoke about now, and give him the time to mold Olise into the player that he wants. Give him the time to mold the Debo into the player that he wants. Because remember, he got Wan Bissaka. Wan Bissaka was iced out of the team, all right, because he didn't see him see him with a future. But then Talo got injured, and all of a sudden Wan Bissaka could play the Eric Ten Hag way because he adapted and he worked on Wan Bissaka's game. Now Wan Bissaka is a much better player compared to the player that we know him from Oli, right? And that's what I'm saying. If we're going to give him new players, great, give him new players. But you have to give him the time to work with these players and allow these players to also to go through the process of learning. Because you see, Mark, for me personally, right, it's so easy for us to say, like, sack him. But then everything that the players have learned and everything that they have grasped and kind of moving, everything that the whole path and the journey that they walked already with as manager has now gone to waste because you're not saying no. Now the new manager comes in, for argument's sake, it is now best case scenario. Hansi Flick, he comes in and he says, I need you to press German style. I need you to play this type of football. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. And then you have players like McTominay and Maguire and all of these players that's been there. They're like, no, we don't do that here. We do something different. And then what? We have the same cycle, same problems until you get these players out. So I agree with you, but I just think that he should get more time rather than just um, you know, 6 months or whatever.
Well, I mean, like, to be fair, I would like to give the manager more time, John. But the reason why I said the next January window is because, a lot of fans like to think in this finite moment that, the answer is always sack and bring someone new. So,
Mm.
I feel like it was more palatable, and it would be more palatable for fans if I was to give it the, give it the example of, let him get it until the January transfer window. But deep down inside, from what I have seen from this manager, the performances I've seen from the team when he has all his players fit, I have full faith that this manager will turn this team around.
Mm.
That's just me. People might say I'm toxic positive and I'm, blindly following the manager, but
Toxic positive. How does that even
no, I
work?
mean, yeah, some guys might have a different opinion, and
uh,
I like, for me, I don't watch football like I play FIFA. When I'm playing
mm,
FIFA, it's all fun and games because it's a game. And
yeah.
in FIFA, I could, transferring players, how many ever players I want, and immediately the chemistry will be great because the chemistry, theoretically they will have a good chemistry with each other because they see the icons, they see the information there, and then I am controlling them with my controller, so they all do what I want to do, so they play my style of play, my way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This manager and all managers, they are unable to do those things. And
Yeah.
sometimes, big up to UGB, I feel like, some people don't differentiate between video game and reality, fantasy and real life, because, they talk about managers setting things up, and the way he set up the team was destined to fail. Like, you know, I feel like we're talking about NPCs who's follow programming, you know what I mean? But these are human players that playing on a
Mm.
football field, and most of them have more than 5 years experience playing at this level, and with
Yeah.
different managers who are extremely, capable in their own rights. And
Mm.
you're playing against teams that you're used to playing against. So are you telling me that you have not developed any experience playing against the players that you're coming up against to say, well, listen, I know this guy, he is going to come rushing in hard from the left. So I'll go right this time instead of
Mm.
turning left to go running into him. You know, I feel like players need to adjust on the field of play. If the manager sets the team up, he sets a formation, he gives you directives. I feel like in executing those directives, you still have the ability to say, you know what, I can still do this, but in order to get to that point, I need to go left and right first because I need to get around these guys in midfield. And this is called adjusting in real time. And this is where the best players are found. Because if
Mm.
you look at Man City, Pep's setup isn't so great. If you look at the game last night against Liverpool, Pep and Liverpool played the identical game to
Mm.
Pep and Eric Ten Hag. It was identical. The only difference was Man City scored first against Liverpool.
Mm.
Liverpool had 2 shots for the entire first half, 0 on target. Liverpool fans in their nice little things, their little names for the for basically, the thumbnails and stuff underneath is Liverpool, destroys Man City, or Liverpool, bombards Man City. You had 0 shots on target for 50 minutes, bro.
Mm.
Zero. Not one shot hit the key. The keeper didn't have to save. You know, it's disappointing. Like when you watch it, like, and they come out saying this and that. Manu Tata coming in saying Saeed is realistic and believe in calling Eric Ten Hag out. Well, bro, let me tell you something, bro. Saeed wanted Eric Ten Hag first. He was the first fan to stream and talk about Ten Hag in. The one thing I will tell you about Saeed is, he's a very good guy, very consistent. But I mean, on all honesty, I will always question his footballing IQ because, his belief in football is the only good football is Pep. It's the way Pep coaches football. If you listen
Mm.
to how he compares the teams, he say, well, don't you see what De Bruyne does? Don't you see what Bernardo Silva does? And in reality, it does not work like that. Football doesn't play one way. And the way Man City plays, the only reason that they can play that way is because they've been together for 9 years. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like the creativity and the chemistry between the Man City players are so in depth. None of the guys there's only 3 players in that squad starting 11 who has playing there less than 3 seasons. And that's the funny bit that people don't acknowledge. It's the same with
Yeah.
Liverpool. If you look at Liverpool's situation, Liverpool is only 3 or 4 players at most in the starting 11 that has not been there for more than 4 seasons. At most. You know
Mm.
what I mean? So this is the other thing where a lot of fans they don't take into consideration, right?
Mm,
They always wanted to have this hyperbolic statement. Well, he have players and he has academy players, he has substitutes. They should be able to play the same way. Theoretically, they should be, right?
mm,
Theoretically, they should be, but at the same time, you have to think about it. Just like some of us are, I am a sound designer. You know what I mean? I'm very good with audio, very good with video equipment as well. I do live events. So, I'm not going to take up a camera and walk around and start filming people and say I'm a great cameraman. You know what I
mm,
mean? That takes time. Like, pointing a camera is easy, but getting the right shots at the right time, it takes experience and know-how. You know what I mean?
mm.
So at the end of the day, we could always criticize Ten Hag, but if he don't have players profile for replacements for the key players, how are we making an even criticism compared to Pep, compared to Klopp, compared to Arteta, even compared to De Zerbi? I hear people saying that De Zerbi have injuries, but people forget De Zerbi has one of the best structures in the league behind him. And if anyone knows about Brighton, they had the interview with the CEO a few months ago, and the CEO came out and said that they have three players for every position, profile-wise. And then they have a few extra players that they call Mavericks, players who can do a bit of it all. You know what I mean? So when
Mm.
people make the excuses for Disabi, why they don't make it for Ten Hag? Ten Hag has been
Yeah.
suffering with the most injuries of any manager this season, especially the most key players. So when people say, "Well, look at our defense last season," well, or those guys have been injured for the better part of this entire season. They were fit for just about 11 games, and you want to know something? We won all of those games. You know what I mean? And that is what people don't look at. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They want to talk about the negatives and the false positives. Like, come on. The reality is, when you look at some teams, you could see the effort of the players on the field. Whether there's Crystal Palace, whether there's Burnley, Luton, or Chelsea, you could see the difference with a player who plays with effort and a player who's just there. And at the end of the day, there's been so many games this season where players have not been performing well, and we want to blame the manager. But when you look at their performances, they could only blame themselves because they have to come out and give their all. They are being paid a job. No one cares. Honestly, I don't care if they like the manager or they don't like the manager, because at the end of the day, they are playing for Manchester United. So they're supposed to love the club and play for the club. The manager should not matter whether he's there or not. They should be given a top performance regardless.
Yeah. I agree with you fully. I agree with you 100%. And the only thing that the only way we can get that Pep style, club style, or Tite style is time. That's all. But yeah, that's all. That's all I have to say with regards to that for now. Um, I don't know what you still want to say, but I think I'm just so tired of the whole Eric Ten Hag out and not taking into consideration everything, because at the end of the day, what can we say? We can either say and ignore everything that we've done uh, over the last couple of or last year and a bit, or we can actually look forward and say there's mitigating circumstances. Let's just call this what it is, the way it's supposed to be, the same way Liverpool did last season, and let's move forward to this. Let's move forward. We can still win a trophy. We can still get into the top four, but let's stop criticizing and being over negative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I just wanted to answer Manu Tata here, bro. No, of course, you can change your mind. That's totally fair. It's your opinion. And, like, I'm not telling you that you and Saeed are entirely wrong, You know what I mean? Because you're seeing something different from what I'm seeing. But I would also contribute that Saeed is his decision also has a, bearing on the fact that has good relations with Amad Diallo, who's not getting game time. And from my perspective, if a player is undeniable, he's undeniable. Nothing could stop him. You know what I mean? And the way they
Yeah.
talk is like Ahmad is the savior. He is undeniably good. He's only ever shown a good performance one season in the championship. And I'd like to remind folks that this is all the while they're downplaying a player who has doubled that GA in 2 seasons back to back, right? Playing in the Champions League. You understand what I'm saying? So if
Mm.
we don't want to count winning 2 trophies in the Eredivisie, then obviously we should count playing to the quarterfinals in 2 Champions League 2 years in a row, having at least 10 GA, which is, I would say, more difficult than having 20 GA in the championship. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about Anthony and the comparison with Ahmad. Now, for me, Ahmad, he still deserves to get some game time because I would like to see what he can offer us as Manchester United fans. You know what I mean? Anthony has not performing, so I'm totally happy with him coming off the
Yeah.
bench with 10 minutes left. I have no problem with that. But the problem
True.
therein lies with me when, we want to jump on Anthony's back and say, well, he's rubbish, he's not good enough. Maybe he's only Eredivisie level. But yet, we've seen Ahmad come in 2 games and the man can't even put a cross in the box
Sure.
once. He's a winger. Not one ball he has placed into the box that a striker or attacking player for Man United has received. So for me, it's like, what does he offer? Or does it just, all y'all just want to see him running about in his shirt on the field? Because that's basically what he has been doing in his cameos. You know what I mean? You have to think about it logically, and the manager is not going to see what we all see. Of course, John is going to criticize Ten Hag. Of course, I am going to criticize Ten Hag. I don't like to see Scott McTominay starting. Sometimes I don't even want to see Scott McTominay in the team, and he comes in. But you want to know something? The manager is the one who has to decide. And when he makes a decision, if he gets it right, he wins. So you can't be saying that the manager is all bad. And if you look at all the different circumstances which he had to deal with this season, no other manager had to deal with that. You have to give him some credit for keeping balance, keeping confident and backing himself, and being able to keep his calm through that trying time. Guys, it's just been a short stream. John and I, we are just coming with this little brief views because we wanted to talk really about the players returning, WAN BISSAKA and like Luke Shaw, and the likes of Højlund is going to be back for the next game. FA Cup is coming up this weekend, guys. We have the match preview on Thursday night, but John might not be here in the night, but Thursday morning, John and I will be bringing the news to you. We'll see you all tomorrow. Hope you all have a great day. We're going to catch the recklessness with KG now. So, guys, if you're joining us, come on down. Let's get in. Hope you guys have a great morning. Manchester United won this weekend, guys. It's been a 2-0 situation, and right now, we're looking to chase down the top 4. Is it possible? You never know. In the next 5 games, we will see, because there are 2 teams above us that face a grueling month of April, facing all the teams above them 1 week after the other. If they can get through, then they might set themselves in top 4. But if they drop 9 points, Man United will be there, guys. Big up to all of you coming in, and most of all, big up to my buddy John Morgan. Big up to you, GB. Big up to GB with that statement. Big up to you, Manu Tata, and big up to you, KennyFANtv. We'll see you all later. It's been us with Man United views, morning news. It's been the daily update, guys. Catch you guys later.